Good afternoon, Christian Game Developers Conference. My name is Paul Burry, and I'm going to present to y'all about press and press releases. Hopefully, y'all can see my screen okay, since I'm sharing the whole thing. It's kind of about press and marketing. So you've completed your game. Awesome. Now what? Now what do you do? So you want to reach people, and that is the whole point of your game, is to reach people to glorify the kingdom of God. And it just goes back for me, knocking on those doors, what Jesus talked about in the Bible, contacting press. That's one of the ways you can do it. You can sit there and go to any gaming media outlet site and find contact information to contact them. There's PR marketing firms if you feel like spending the money. There's influencers. So you can sit there and go have some streamer stream your game. Social media, go post on there. You can also have people post for you as well. If your product is physical copy, you can take it to stores. You got to find what's going to work for you. And then we'll have a press release example, and then we can dissect the press release. And then at the very end, we'll have some questions. All right, contacting the press. Now I know the biggest concern I have talked to a lot of Christian game developers is wanting to be not unevenly yoked, and many worldly gaming sites will ignore you. However, there are some who will publish something, and then that can get you some coverage there. Um, but if you don't try, one, they don't know about your game. Two, they're not going to ever cover you if you don't send them anything. There are Christian gaming media outlet sites like Chris Family Friendly Gaming, Christian Gamer, Plugged In, Clash Entertainment. They're ones that will be way more receptive. You say, "Hey, I'm a fellow believer. Got this game, got this press release." A lot of us are eager in Christian gaming media to publish that. Um, Press releases are actually pretty simple and easy to do, and it comes down to, do you want to reach more people or not? Now, when you're talking gaming media, a lot of times they're going to free copy your game, so you got to sit there and be prepared for that. Do you have codes for them or not? And then, are you available for an interview? Because they're going to sit there and say, "Hey, we want to interview you about this product." That happens. So you have to sit there and make sure, keep it in your mind that I got to be available. If you're dealing with PR and marketing, it does cost money. And there are a lot of different firms. There are some Christian firms as well. In fact, we deal with a variety of Christian gaming outlets who do like movies. So the Fireproof, the Sherwood Pictures, Sherwood Baptist, they have a PR firm, a Christian PR firm they work with. PR firms already have all the contacts, so you don't have to do the work. You don't have to do the legwork trying to find everybody. Um, and PR marketing, I can tell you from my stance, from where I'm at, they will bug the press for coverage consistently. They're annoying sometimes, but if you're paying for them to try to get you that coverage, that helps. They can assist you with the reach. One of the things I've heard from different smaller game developers is it's hard to measure how much they're assisting you. It's hard to tell, are they actually helping or not? You don't always know. Like I said, there are Christian PR marketing firms, influencers. So like we work with Catapult through Indie Boost, and the different smaller game developers go say, "Hey, I got this product. This is what I want. I want you to sit there and play the game. I want you to make these talking points. All these, they'll put different key things you have to do, and then all the influencers bid on it and say, like for us, we'll say, I'll work for you for 60 minutes, and it's $60 to get you some coverage." And then you're out there and you get a live stream. Viewers see the game, and the influencers are trying to help promote and sell your product. Just like television advertisements, just at a much smaller scale. And I guarantee you that influencers, in most cases, are going to be cheaper than PR marketing firms. Unless you're going to someone huge like Ninja, you're going to be paying a lot more money. So, but I don't think a lot of the Christian game developers are going to be really interested in going to someone like Mr. Beast or Ninja and working with them. There is cost associated with having an influencer play your game. You will reach more people than just your social media channels and just your YouTube. And the other thing is, there's a lot of us now that have branched out. So Gab, Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey. There's more video sites than just YouTube, and you got to think about that, because like we can stream something on YouTube, and then we can go, or Twitch, and we can go put it on Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey. We can put them out there. And you can also properly target the influencers. So you look at the influencer, you look at their YouTube channel, and if they're playing COD, you probably don't want them playing your Bible trivia game. You can also look and see how have they treated smaller game developers before. Have they treated them well? They treated them badly. The other thing is the influencer market has been growing by leaps and bounds. It's just been exploding. Social media. There are people who you can pay and they'll go promote you on social media. You can also do it yourself. So Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Gitter, Parler. There's a ton and they're growing, and you can reach different audiences by, like, when we post our social media post, we copy and paste the same post on all these different places. So it's copy, paste, post, and we just do that. You might spend 10, 15 minutes doing that to tell everyone about the different stories. But if you're thinking about, trying to promote your game, you have a game, you want it to reach people. And these are ways just kind of to reach as many as you can directly. It can depend on your reach. But like I said, if you pay someone, they have more of a reach as well. All right. So if you have a physical product, you can try to get in stores. Very difficult. Unfortunately, a lot of Christian stores, like in our area, are gone. They've shut down, closed doors. Hard to get into places like Walmart and Target. You can sell directly on like Amazon. I think it was like Mercati. You could even put it up on eBay if you wanted to. I mean, there are places you can still go, but you don't have to worry about the physical copy. But getting into those stores is a lot more difficult. Like I said, you can sell directly online. I know I've heard a complaint from a lot of people going to Walmart that they always want a lower cost. Cut the price. That's their big focus. So you gotta think about that. It's like, how are you still going to make money off of it as well after you've put it there? And then you're going to still need to point people to your product to know that, hey, are they in the store? And then there's always a concern: are you unequally yoked with the store based on what they do and what they promote? You got to figure out and find out what's going to work for you. What is your goal? And then once you know your goal, you got to think about, how am I going to get there? You have to come up with a plan to achieve it. And I think I've talked to a lot of small game developers, and they've said, I thought the marathon was starting and making the game. I didn't realize that after the game's made, that then there's a lot of work afterwards to try and, get recognition of the product. And if you're trying to bring glory to the kingdom of God, you got to think about how many people are you going to reach? And you got to think of the ways you can reach people. You can go to different Reddits, Discord boards and talk about it, but how many are you actually reaching? And you gotta kind of broaden, in my opinion, you gotta broaden the horizons and say, okay, I want to reach as many people as possible, so I gotta go all these different places. You need to have them, like, aware of your product. And in my opinion, you need to go beyond verbal conversations and talking to local churches. You need to sit there and try and reach more people. And think about this: worldwide. Okay. So don't just think, okay, I'm going to reach some people in America. Can you reach some people in Europe and Turkey and Saudi Arabia, maybe China? There you can broaden that horizon with different things. Okay. So I want to give you all a press release example. This is a press release that we published on the Family Friendly Gaming website. It came from SNK. Okay, so SNK sent us this. And it starts out with where they're located, and they had a date. Now, we add in the year of our Lord. That's something we do for our website. We're always trying to bring glory to God. We're trying to point people back to God and remind them. This is an old phrase that's been used for a long time, so we remind them. Company name. Then you sit there and say what you're announcing. So like right here, this is just really, the first paragraph is a sentence. Okay, it's just a sentence here where they're telling you what's being released, the date. Princess, sorry about the dog. And then they'll have another couple sentences about the product. And Princess. How do I go back? Oh. Okay. So now we hit the part of the dissection. Where are you? What is the date? Who are you? What do you have to say? You can have quotes. In fact, I've seen this. I've had people who email me a press release who have a quote for themselves in the press release. Okay. So don't think you think I'm a one man studio. You tell people who you are, what you have to say. Then I talked about the quotes. So you can have quotes from yourself in there. And I've seen press releases from the person who sent me the email, and they have a quote from themselves in there, or they're quoting the chief of marketing, if you know, and it's their direct boss. So don't think that quotes have to be this amazing thing from someone separate. It can be from you. You can give information about your product that might interest the prospective buyer. You're selling your product. You want to focus on the positives. I see this a lot. So different game developers, let's say they make an 8-bit style game, right? And they won't say this is the most modern, amazing artwork like Amazing Spider-Man. No, they'll say 8-bit style, chip tune music, right? If they're going for that retro audience, they will sit there and make sure they focus on that. You got to think about who you're trying to reach, and you're writing to them. I always learned that writing is knowing who your audience is and speaking to them. So you need to let them know when your product comes out, what's the price, what's the rating. If you know those things, okay. If you don't, just leave them off. You can say rating pending. You can say price to be determined. If you don't know the release date, to be determined. I see a lot of companies who announce that there's a product coming out. It's coming out in 2022. They're not telling you when, just sometime in the year. Just kind of keep that in mind. All right, questions, thoughts, comments, need to know more. If you want to send us press releases, there's our address, ffgnews@familyfriendlygaming.com. All right, let me come back over here. I'll stop sharing. And yes, Princess was making an announcement. Sorry about Princess. Yeah, Princess is yeah. She's part Boston Terrier, part Chihuahua, and she likes to bark at crazy things. So someone's walking across the street, she starts barking. If someone's vacuuming, she starts barking. But yeah, she she'll see other dogs and she'll just run away scared. Oh, when is it time to do a press release? Only once complete. No, Andy. If you have an announcement, like let's say you're announcing a product, right? Nintendo had a press release when they announced Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. No idea when it's coming out. Just that we've done this. I see lots of press releases for companies doing Kickstarters. So if you're going to do a Kickstarter and you want the press to pay attention and try to get more people to fund your Kickstarter, I see that all the time. In fact, to be honest, a lot of the Kickstarters are really obnoxious because I've had Kickstarters send me a press release 10 days in a row to try to make sure that they get the money to fund their project. So you can sit there and do it at the majority. I see announcements. After announcements, I'll see a release date. So when you know when it's coming out, that's the second biggest one is release dates. After that, when it actually is released. So those are the big three that I see all the time that are quite frequent that people send out. Yeah. Heard press releases had to be formatted in a certain way. No, I see press releases on all kinds of formats. I see press releases that are like a paragraph. That's it. I've seen press releases that are 2 sentences. And a lot of times we won't mess with them because it's like, well, that's too much effort on our part to sit there and go publish this when they just gave us 2 whole sentences. But sometimes you might just throw out a tweet for something like that. But no, there is no exact format. Different companies send out the press releases in different formats. Usually it's email. Sometimes it's PDF. Rarely now, but every so often be like a Word document. But no, it's just kind of like what I showed you as an example. And if you also were like, hey, I want to see what some press releases look like, you just go look at the different gaming sites and see the press releases. Not someone's write up, but a press release. And if you're like, I'm not really sure where to look, you come to Family for the Game website, hit news, or even updated news, and you'll sit there and click on some of the links, the ones that are not red or some other color if they're green, and go look, and you'll sit there and see here's examples of what other companies are sending out, because those are generally word for word. Now we do a little editing if they put like offensive content in there, because sometimes some PR firms will send you stuff with a bunch of profanity in it, and we're like, no, we're not publishing that, so we'll edit that out. But generally, you're looking at exact examples of what they look like, and that's what everyone's sending. And like I said, it'll start out usually the formatting that I see: the date, where you're located, then it goes into company name, what you're announcing, have a little blurb. After that little blurb, there'll be like a quote, sometimes more than one quote. Sometimes there's just more blurbs, and then other times I've seen they'll, like, depends on the PR firm, but some PR firms will repeat the information from the first paragraph and the last paragraph, and we just delete that because it's like, why do you need to double up the same information? Yeah, I don't know what. One of my kids was doing something, so I think that's probably what was going on. Is it safe to say there are many right ways to do a press release update? Secondly, are there generally wrong ways to do a press release? Yes, there are many right ways to do a press release. Many. I've seen many. Like I said, I've seen many, and we've published many different kinds. The second part was, what is there a wrong way? Let me think about a wrong way. I wouldn't say there's a wrong way, but there are things that could probably turn off gaming media. And one of the things that could turn off is if you're too salesy or you have too many links in there. One of the things we do is we copy and paste the text out and put it in Notepad, so it just strips all links out. Because I look at links as an advertisement, just like if you said, if it's a TV ad and go to my store, that's kind of the same deal. I've seen places that if they have, they might have 5 or 6 links in one paragraph. That gets a little excessive. It's extra work if you want to put all the links in. So I could say that if you put way too many links in, if you have, I don't know, more than one a paragraph, that could be considered excessive. If you're sounding too salesy, that might turn some gaming media off. If it's like, I don't know, buy this now, all over the place, they might be like, nah. You want to relay information about your game to get people to buy it, but you don't want to do it like go to the store and buy right now. I mean, you can put something in there like pre-order now or here, click here to go pre-order, those kinds of things. But I'd say like the only way I've seen wrong would be if they had way too many links, or if it was just the tone was just buy, just buy this right now, go to the store and buy it, or go to Steam and buy this right now. And I think if you put that in there too much, once or twice is fine. But if you have it in there like 10, 15 times, people might be like, I don't want to deal with this. And that's another thing, I wrote an article about this recently about the goal of the companies sending us stuff is to get us to publish it, right? And they have to sell us on whatever they're trying to publish. Oh, wait, I know the other wrong thing. Like when I said that 10 days I got to think about Kickstarter in a row, that's excessive. So if we start seeing the same story too often, we think, oh, we've already published it. We may have never published it, but we look at it and go, wow, this is so familiar. I probably published it last week. But like I said, when they just kept doing day after day after day after day, go to my Kickstarter fund me, 10 days in a row with the same press release, that gets excessive. You made me think of it. Another mistake is, I've seen this has happened from time to time, not valuing gaming media's time. And what I mean by that is I've had people send me press releases, and then like an hour later, after it's been published, they go, oh, you need to pull that now, and it's going to go up tomorrow. Excuse me? So I have to do the work 3 times. I already did the work. Now you want me to pull it, and then now I got to do it again. That's triple the work because you didn't understand the embargo date and didn't pass along, right? So yeah, there's that. Oh, and I just brought the topic of embargo dates. You can also send press releases out with an embargo date. So you can say, hey, don't publish this until I don't know, the 15th at 2 p.m. And you got to make sure you put your time zone so they know. Because if you don't put the time zone, that's a bit of a problem. How do you find Christian press? Is there a directory? I don't know of a directory. I just know of being in the industry so long that there's Family Friendly Gaming, there's Christ Center Gamer, there's Clash Entertainment, there's who's the other one? Focus on the Family's got one. I think I had my presentation. I'm forgetting the name. Let's see if we can find it real quick. There's also them. Do they? And of course, now I can't find it. Plugged in. So Plugged in's another one. You can contact all of them to try to get coverage. There's also one that I kind of waffle on whether how Christian they are or not, which is Game Church. I don't know if they really publish press releases or not. I haven't really been over there in a while. Yes. Oh, okay. Tony, great point. Yes. Many. My biggest complaint about a lot of press releases is they do sound like a sales pitch many times. And there's been quite a lot of editing we've done to pull out some of it. My biggest complaint about any press release from any company is they all say they're leading. So they're all like, leading game developer Namco Bandai, leading game developer Nintendo, leading game developer Sony, leading game developer Microsoft. Okay, I'm sorry. To me, it races or one person's in first place, and I don't think they're all in first place. I don't think they're all leading, but they all say they're leading. So a lot of times I will just delete the leading word, just take it out. It's like, no, you're not all in first place. I'm sick of this, But they do that. They all act like we're number one, and I'm like, nah, not everybody. Sorry. Thank you, Tim. How do we know how much to pay YouTube or what is cheap, what is expensive, etc.? Oh, good point. Okay, so this gets a little more complex, and you probably have to do some kind of a mathematical formula to try to determine that. How many people are you going to reach? How much is that worth to you? Okay, so I'll give you an example. Our standard rate is $1 a minute, and we do like an hour, so a 60-minute interval. What you get for that could be anywhere from 200 to 1,000 views, right? Now, if you're getting more views, it's going to cost you more money. So you got to sit there and try to balance out and figure out how much is it worth to you. I don't know of any standard rate. I do know that Catapult or Indie Boost told us that with our views that was a safe area. Aside from also influencers, I just remembered something else. You can also have a short little commercial that's put in the front of the video. Okay, so we do this. It's just like a video snippet that starts out. So let's say we put it in front of a Just Dance video that might get 1,000 views in the first month, and it may hit 10,000 a year views or something, possibly. It just depends on the Just Dance video. Put that in there. For our rate is like $25. So we put it in there at $25. It's really easy for us to edit in a small little 30-second or 60-second commercial from a different company, pop it in there. They provide the video. So that's something else you can do, not just influencers, but you can sit there and have a little gameplay video, like I said, 30, 60 seconds with information about your game. They can do that as well. So there's more options than just influencers. I forgot about that. I'm sorry, everyone. What makes information makes a press release request easy for you to work with? For me personally, the easiest ones are ones that you don't have to do a lot of editing with, where you're doing a lot more copy and pasting, and it's something that is interesting, different, possibly new, and for me the biggest one is, and one of the reasons why I asked to do this this presentation is is Christian, because I want Christian games to flourish. I want Christian games to grow. I want to work more on publishing content about Christian games. There are days I get so sick and tired of the worldly stuff. I get so sick and tired of, they're like, oh, we put in Eastern mythology, we put in Chinese mythology or Japanese mythology. I'm like, no, I'd rather have things that point people to God. But there are days, and here's another thing. So the two worst days for press releases, as far as receiving, are Monday and Friday. For whatever reason, very few people send out press releases on Mondays and Fridays. I don't know why. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the big bulk of when press releases come out from the different worldly companies. Okay. So it's like, come on. They all try to jam in those 3 days, and they ignore Monday and Friday a lot of times. And so if you're like, hey, if you someone thought like, what's the best time? What's the best day? A lot of times mornings on a Monday or a Friday are where you get less competition. And that's another thing a lot of people don't realize is there is constant competition. I mean, I've had days where I'm getting 25, 30 press releases from different companies, and I have the bandwidth to do like 2 or 3, maybe 4 in a day. So that's all we have availability. And so I look at it and go, man, I got to pick some of these. Now, the other thing we do sometimes is we put them in our gaming magazine as well. So we put in the Family Friendly Gaming magazine. If we got too much overflow, we got those as well. But yeah, I'm always looking for, and that's one of the reasons why I don't want to do this, is looking for Christian game developer press releases, because I would love for the Christian gaming industry to just explode and have more people know about Christian games. We have a decent audience that comes and visit our website, so it's like, come on, give me something, where I can, point them to something that's better than their current choices. What point do you suggest doing press release for a project is something you would best done as a finishing product, or would it be better along the way to get the hype? Kind of like I talked about before, the 3 big points when I find press releases: when you announce a game, that's a big one. So when you sit there and know that you're going to have a game, you don't have to have a release date. Okay, I want to make that clear. You can announce the release date is to be announced, TBA. It could be TBD, to be determined. So as long as you like, I have this project, I know I'm going to finish it, send out a press release as an announcement. You're announcing this is coming out. The next big one is when you're releasing. So when you know the release date. The release date could be December 25th this year. Okay, if you know that is release date, you will hit that release date. That's another big one. And the last big one is when you announce it. Like I said, I've also seen Kickstarter announcements. So if you're like, hey, we want to try to get funding for our project, Kickstarter announcements are a big one that we'll see a lot of. Every so often, if the date slips, you'll see a press release about, hey, our release date was December 21st. Now it's going to be February 28th. So when you see those are another example. But no, I wouldn't just think of like, okay, the project's done, press release. That's one of the 3 big ones: announcements, release date, and then when it actually is out. Those are the 3. That's the trinity of press releases. When is it too early to announce a product? I guess the point would be too early is if you have an idea for a game, but you don't have anything mapped out, anything coded, any artwork, any music. If you just say, I've got an idea for an Animal Crossing like game where we put a church in there, but you have done no work on it, that would probably be a bit too early. You probably should have a game plan, a map of what you're going to do at the very least, and probably at least start it. That would be my opinion, but I don't know. Others may disagree on that. But I think the biggest concern would be if it's going to be vaporware. If you have an idea but you don't actually have anything that will happen, and And you really hate to find out that something never actually does get created. I mean, that would be probably one of the biggest problems I would see a potential of, because imagine, let's say you get a bunch of people excited about a product and then something happens and you're not able to do it. Then people are asking you, hey, what's the update on, I don't know, whatever game title you came up with. Hey, when's it coming out? And you're like, oh yeah, I have to actually start it. Well, that's not going to look good. You know, you got to think about, you still have some kind of credibility, and if you get people all excited about something and then it doesn't, you're not even going to, make it happen. That can be a problem. How do Christian press media feel about discussing or promoting games by a Christian creator that doesn't necessarily have a Christian theme or obvious Christian theme? Most do not mind. Now, the ones that I know that don't mind would be like Cheryl Grass over at the Christian game developer. She probably wouldn't mind. I don't know about Focus on the Family, how they are. I don't know a whole lot about Clash Entertainment, how they would handle it. Game Church seems to not really care. They kind of really get into the worldly stuff. Us at Family Friendly Gaming, okay. We are EC to T, okay? So when we cover plenty of worldly products, but if it's going to be an M-rated game or AO, adult only, then we're probably not going to do a lot of coverage on it, because it's like, well, we're kind of more focused on the more family-friendly stuff, the EC to T. So we wouldn't probably be as interested in M games. So if you had, I don't know, angels and demons fighting in Mortal Kombat style with all the blood, we'd probably be like, it's probably not for our audience, is what I would say. But that's more of a focus there. Like I said, we cover plenty of worldly titles. In fact, I have played through all of Tales of Vesperia, and I'm going to be playing Tales of Arise pretty soon. I've almost finished playing through Metopia for live streams, right? And then the live streams are made into videos and put on the video sites. So yeah, we play plenty of JoJo. Peter just recently, my oldest, played a live stream on Twitch for JoJo. Whether the JoJo game was on PS4, I can't remember the exact full title. Would raising funding or releasing a trailer be a valid? Yes. Yeah, Kickstarter, definitely. We see that, or there's others in Kickstarter I don't know about. I see press releases for that. I also see press releases about a release trailer or an announcement trailer. Sometimes those are put in there in the press release as well. They'll put a link to it. Something we've started recently is doing reacts to the trailers. So we'll sit there and watch the trailer and have someone live react to it, and then put that into a video and put it on the sites. And then people can sit there and find out about the product through that as well. So yeah. Raising funding trailer, yes, they are. Do you have to change the press release based on the news outlet? That is a really good question, Connor. Let me think about that for a second. You could, because you have to target the audience. So my opinion on this topic and this question is, if you were going to IGN or GameSpot, you may not want to focus as much on the Christian aspects as if you were coming to Family Friendly Gaming or Christ Center Gamer. You might be like, hey, I want to let you know I'm a fellow believer and I'm making this product. Like, that's going to get more traction with us than probably IGN and GameSpot. So you might want to kind of tone it down a little bit in the press release. So because I knew a guy who worked at IGN, fellow believer, but he was like, he had to kind of hide it because of how hateful they were to Christians. So you don't want them to immediately just delete your email because you say, here's a new Christian game, right? Because they might, and if you don't get traction from them, you might go, hey, what's going on here? If they're absolutely ignoring me, it could be that. I mean, I've been to seven E3s, and I've seen plenty of discrimination against Christians at E3. Okay. I've heard plenty of things. So I know it happens. I know it's part of the industry and it sucks, but it does happen. And like I said, I have seen it, myself. I've heard people say things and I'm like, you do realize I'm a Christian, right? and they just look at you like, "What's wrong with you?" You're like, "Hello." Are you that hate filled, really? So yeah, it it is. That's a really good question because I think you probably should do it differently. You know, um, there are also more family friendly focused media outlets than ones that are not. So yeah, you can also make changes to the press release to try to target who you're actually trying to get to publish information on your products. How does it feel like to have published 175 issues of FG? Thanks, Tim. Good question. Um, Humbling, because quite honestly, when I started, I don't know how many people know the story of the starting. I didn't really, I didn't have a clue how to do what I was doing. I had no idea, and I had prayed about it and thought about it, and I had been begging God to send someone to kind of do this work, and he said, "You go," and I was like, "Oh wait, me? Like I don't know what I'm doing." So I've been doing it, and that's kind of something else. My encouragement to all the Christian game developers is you may not feel like you have a clue how to do a press release, but as you start doing them, you'll get better, right? And you can always ask. You can go, "Hey, give me some feedback on this," right? Like if someone doesn't reply to your email about it, and you can check in a week later and be like, "Hey, is there a reason you decided not to publish this?" And there can be a lot of reasons. You know, you know, the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. The more you're going to learn about it. And that's kind of my encouragement to y'all is start. You know, so if there's a new interactive parables coming out, send out a press release. If you're like, hey, I announced it, I need to announce it, send out the press release. You know, you get out there, and the other thing is, as we as Christian game media publishes more information on Christian games, it gets out there, but it also can hit the worldly media because now we're getting exclusives that they're not doing, right? If they're ignoring y'all and we publish it, then we have exclusives, which means readers come to us to find out about y'all. And then these other places, they're not hearing anything. And they're like, whoa, what's up here? We're getting beat out. We're getting scooped. So there's that too. But yeah, back to the original question. It's really humbling. I never thought I'd get there. And that's like this year I turned 50 and I'm like, whoa, I didn't think I'd be that old. So what about PSA and not selling anything? Oh yeah, Preston, yes. We see PSAs all the time. We publish some and others we ignore. Now, let me explain what we ignore. I ignore a lot of times the ESRB PSAs because many times the ESRB is just like patting themselves on the back and saying how great they are. But we published plenty of reviews, plenty of stories about things the ESRB has missed and ignored. And we've even sent them messages about stuff. And we even have an open interview on our website for the ESRB to answer questions that they've ignored for years, probably like a decade now. So yeah, PSAs or something else can be sent out. Um, I can tell you they probably get lower interest, but it can also depend on when. So I would say don't send out anything during the E3 week. That's bad. Uh, if okay, if you want to compete with a ton of stuff, try E3 week, try GDC week. Those are going to be probably the times you get missed because everyone wants to say something. Like everyone's got some product to announce. So here's Nintendo and Sega and Namco and Bandai Namco and THQ Nordic, and everyone's got something to say about something. They're all putting something out there. So you want to try to find, I would say, for something like a PSA, a lull when it's in between. So it's not CES is not happening right now type of deal. That would probably be a better um, thing to look at. Alec, yes, E3 is happening, but digitally again. So it's only going to be online. Should someone putting a press release out avoid sending a blurb to multiple groups? No, No, in fact, that are addressed to us and 30 other gaming media outlets, right? Like, you can. My advice would be to BCC, which is blind CC everyone, but we get them from a lot of people, and there'll be a lot of different other media outlets on there as well. So don't feel like I have to send one here and one here and one here. Um, Mailchimp, you use Mailchimp, Send in Blue, places like that. You can sit there and just make a list of a bunch of email addresses, and then formulate the email, send it out to everyone. So I would not just like, oh, let me just send one at a time. No, I would try to make it as efficient as possible and send out to everybody at once. All right, so we're gonna do one more question, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. That was very thorough and informative. Thank you, but I missed your press email. Can you show or add that to chat? Yeah, let me put it right here. It is FFG news at familyfriendlygaming.com. You can also check out the website and go see the contact us page. You can send us a little contact message through the form. We have an online form you can fill out and just send us a little message if you want to as well. But yeah, I had a blast. I hope you did as well. Hope you thought about some things, maybe learned some stuff. And I'd like to thank everyone for your time and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.